should you advertise on? So I guess which digital channels should you advertise on? I'll maybe make that clarification. Who wants to?
Yeah, I can probably take the lead on that one. The short and simple answer is advertise on Facebook and Google. I think though the question is a little bit more complex than that. LinkedIn as well. I would say LinkedIn, Alan, is a budding advertising platform. They haven't done as much development as kind of Facebook and Google. It's a little bit more technical to get started with. I know that they are investing in it heavily. I keep seeing changes come up on the platform. So yeah, Facebook, Google, and then watch out for LinkedIn as well, definitely. However, the reason why I say Facebook and Google is because I was reading some demographic information on Facebook. And one thing that I found absolutely staggering is that in North America, 7 out of 10 people, so 70% of the population, are monthly active users on Facebook. That means that they're literally, active on Facebook every single month. So if you think that that's 7 out of 10 people in North America, you could probably imagine that maybe 8, 9, 10 out of 10 people in North America have accounts on Facebook. And Facebook doesn't just represent, only Facebook as a platform. They represent Facebook, they represent Instagram, they represent their audience network as well, which has an enormous amount of reach. And so if you have a Facebook profile and if you're advertising on the audience network, chances are you might be able to get in front of that person even if they're not actually on Facebook. Google as well, it is it's where we go to find information. If we have questions, we go and we look at Google and we enter in searches. So to be represented on that search material, I would definitely say Google is a powerful place. And LinkedIn, I think we can agree for professional area. It is a solid network. However, from our experience, I know the media costs are typically a bit higher than some of the other platforms. And so with that, you just have to factor how that plays into your funnel in regards to profitability. I think that the question is a bit deeper because I don't necessarily think it's, where. I think it's also where and how. How do you advertise on these platforms, right? And with that, what we can do is advertise strategically and look at it through that lens of the customer value journey. So if we're, getting out there onto Facebook and say our service is a marketing service, we're not necessarily just going to put an ad out there and that says, hey, we do marketing, click to buy, right? Because that's realistically not how people will move through that relationship and through that decision. So with that, that's the equivalent of asking, on that first date, what are the names of our kids? So what you want to do is on that customer value journey, you can look and say, okay, Facebook, for people that don't know us, we can hit that awareness. We can engage them with a video or with a blog article. And then what's the next box is subscribe. So we have an opportunity to have somebody in there subscribe, to your brand from that ad sequence. And that would represent a really solid conversion and one in which you can predictably garner, what your cost per subscriber is. And if you've worked through that funnel in regards to how do you get that subscriber into a hook phase and how do you excite them so that they purchase, that's how you can start really getting that predictability and profitability from your ads. So I'd say anybody else have anything to add on top of that?
That's a great answer for our solution architect, the techie, to go through that. and you're right? Like for the most part, if we think about like Facebook being the largest advertising platform and Google being the second, right? Like it's unlikely that you run a business where your users is not on one of those two platforms. The way how I like to think about that question is basically tying back to that before and after grid, right? Like exactly who are the people that you're trying to target? And as you go through the grid and you go and say, well, the people that I'm trying to target, for example, if it's primarily occupation driven or title driven, industry driven, LinkedIn makes a lot of sense because that's the only platform that enables you to be able to target those people effectively. Whereas if what you're finding is that, well, in the before and after grid, there's something that talks about like, what's the daily activity of that individual, and that person is going to be searching and reading a certain type of articles. Well, in that case, maybe your Google display ads, it was what makes the most sense because that allows you to get in front of those people while they're consuming the content that they're looking at daily, kind of thing, right? So I think the short answer is it depends, but if you think about the logic about defining those customer segments and knowing that, well, this person is going to be on Instagram, Facebook, Google, YouTube. Now you know of the options, then you go back and kind of go one level down and say, well, what is the media cost for me to get myself in front of those audience? Then it becomes a very like numerically driven decision. Right?
Yeah, really good point.